Hello, sports fans from around the world. It's the one you've been waiting for, the NRL SuperCoach BDE podcast. We are the best draft experts here to bring you some pretty exciting podcasts tonight where we cover the booms, the busts, the bounce backs, the breakouts, some bold predictions, value picks, overall draft stats, and at the very end, for those who hang on, our loyal listeners, we're going to announce the entrance to our wonderful listener league where yours truly tries to go back to back. Joining me this evening, as always, the boys. I know you love them. Shout out to you, Simo. Hello, mate.
G'day, mate. G'day, listeners. Keen for this podcast, boys. This is one of the better podcasts. Just taking it nice and easy, but like we sort of mask it by saying that it's going to be casual. But some of these calls are spicy. They are wild. But the sad thing about it all is you just know that we've actually put thought into these, and that's what makes it disappointing. Because, like, you can just these can be Hail Mary picks. Like, you can just play this back at the end of the year and go, "How good was I?" And you can say the most outlandish shit, and it just doesn't matter. So, it's only upside from us here making these calls. But the thing is, that we actually mean them. So, please enjoy.
Well said, Simo. We're having a bit of fun, mate. And Todzo, I know you really wanted to make sure you tooted my horn on this potty for how right I was in this segment last year with Reece Walsh, mate. Did you want to repeat for the listeners again?
Yeah, no, I don't remember bringing that up at all. So, look, it's a fun podcast. It's a fun podcast to make some predictions. I'll make some outlandish ones and no one should listen to me. But, yeah, it's always a fun one. It's always good to look back next year and go, oh, you idiots, you absolute moron. So, yeah, let's get cracking into it.
Yeah, I think listeners, just to know how dedicated this man Todzer is, and he won't mind me saying, if he was to win this list, the League of Record, I should say, he has promised a tat on an arse cheek because it means that much to him. Because it's a hard league to win. Simo and I, we try and keep it off the restless, don't we, mate?
Yeah, look, I want to see. It's tough because I don't want to see Toddy win, but I do want to see Toddy win just to see this happen.
Oh mate, it'll say show and go champion 2026 on my cheek, and then from then on, I'll just keep winning them. So I'll probably put a 27 beside it, a 28. It'll be fantastic.
Mate, don't even start. Red and I just Wentworth Miller over here, just cats everywhere. Mate, talk to me once you get some ink on your son.
Yeah, I'm gunning for those who have interest. I know we get a lot of DMs around our League of Record and the way we run it uniquely. It's Simo has won 5 in the 15 years of operation. I'm at 4, so I'm looking to match him this year historically, which would be nice. So we've got a listener we haven't had on live before. So Chriso 444. Hello, good sir. Welcome. Hey boys, loving the content this preseason. I've been listening along when I get a chance, but I'm here live for this one. Well, the start of at least, haha, with a yawny face. Welcome aboard, sir. Very good. And yeah, the dad life, mate. Tough gig. So, boys, I love this, as you said, Simo. It's an exciting segment. So, folks, I'm going to define each of these for you just to make sure we're on the same page. We are going to start off with the one most people want more than anything. The boom players. These are your league winners. So these are your lower drafted players to massively outdo their draft position. So to qualify for this segment, the boys and myself must provide you with a player we are pretty confident will have to be drafted, could be drafted fairly late. So I'm thinking anywhere from kind of 8 down, maybe even a bit later, that will shoot somewhere that next year you'll be looking in the top few rounds, right? Hard to find, but we're going to have a crack. Todza, would you mind kicking us off, mate?
What an absolute stitch up this has been. Giving me the brief 5 minutes ago. What an absolute. I reckon I'll pass it off to Simo to start us off, mate. There's no chance I'm kicking off here.
What a stitch up that is. Like, here, try and find this needle in the haystack, Toddy. Yeah, get into it.
Right. No.
So it's definitely well made. Classy work. I've got one ready. His name stood out to me when we did the 2RF podcast, okay? I can't pronounce his name well, but he's a very good player on the edge for Parramatta. I think you can get him dirt cheap this year. I think there's a red-hot chance that he continues that form. Todd, help me with the pronunciation, mate.
His name's Galtonga.
Galtonga.
Katonga, yeah. Kitiani Katonga.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think that he is a red hot chance of, even if it's a slightly slower start just with the injuries brought back in, I just think by the end of the season, you can have a guy who could average 65 for the run home and just be just a great combination of base upside to win your league, particularly for those who wait on 2RF, which we spoke about in that potty is something I love to do. So he is my nom, potentially as a boom league winner. Have the boys quick commentary. Simone, love for that call.
Yeah, I like the call. I'll make a couple of comments on this particular category, I suppose. Like you said, round 8. Like for me, I probably think of it more round 6 down, because if you can hit a boom, it doesn't matter if it is even as early as round 6. That player, if they're going to outperform, they're going to be almost as good as a league winner. So I don't mind shooting a little bit higher on the draft board for these sorts of players. And
sure.
I guess the second comment would be that 2RF is definitely a position where it's super fun to have stabs at these sort of boom players, because a lot of things we know with 2RF is it's a lot of opportunity based. If you get an injury here or there in front of you, and then you just get someone that comes in right time, right place, there's a lot of turnover in the 2RF, so it's easy to find a boom. And I'll sort of stick on that theme with mine. I'm going to go with Jermaine McEwen from Newcastle. I just think that what we saw from that young fella at the end of last year was just a really good base. I think he's got SuperCoach game, and that's probably the biggest thing that you need to sort of pass your eyes over when you look for these boom players is, yes, you need to have opportunity, like I just said, but there has to be that SuperCoach element to their game to factor into it as well. You can't have guys just getting 80 minutes on an edge in the 2RF, but then just not have the PPM to go with it. And what I saw from McEwen is that, like, I think he ticks all the boxes in terms of base, and he's such a young player that we just don't know what his upside is going to be. The only knock on him, I suppose, was I just wish he was on the left, but Lucas will probably be there. So most likely McEwen will be on the right, which may put a bit of a dampener on him. But for the price you can get him at, he's well outside the top 8 rounds. So I'll throw him in there as a boom.
Like it, mate. It's 2RF themed. Very good. And you got another?
Yeah, I do have one, but I'll let Toddy go with his first.
Yeah, right.
You ready, mate? We're on.
Mate, yeah, if you didn't change the description 27 times, it would have been good. But, mate, mine is someone I've talked about a bit. That's my boy Jackson Purdue. 5'8" is just one of those positions. We talked about the 5'8" area where we talked about how average it is. Purdue's in those guys, the Man, the Strange, those Talangi guys, those kind of guys that could easily just give you that round sort of, high round value when you've waited in the draft for him. So that's my guy, Jackson Purdue. I think we saw a little bit of him in the halves last year. Didn't score crazy for SuperCoach, but a preseason in, getting that halves role, locking in, I think Purdue's going to be a decent round value for people.
I like that, Todd. That's going there. And to go with your description, Simo, just a little bonus one for me. Just finding it hard not to get excited about Dylan Brown with the 5'8" nom as a player that I think could actually win your league this year, because I still think there might be a little knock. People are like, I think the Knights will be crap, blah, blah, blah. If you can get him more post round 4-ish even, and he ends up returning you similar to the value of Cameron Munster, which I think is in the range of outcomes, you've scored yourself a very good draft pick this year. So he's another one for me. Warming by the day. Love that. Love that. Great segment, gentlemen. Quick special mention. I've got another 2RF that I'm just, as we talked about it the other day, Semwala Fainu, gentlemen. I know he's teaser, Simo. I know we love the talent, right? But he's a guy, it could just happen any time. He could qualify as a breakout technically because of that, but he has been so bad that you're getting him very deep in drafts, like 11, 12, 13.
Yeah. Oh, and we use this term in fantasy of post-hype sleeper. Like the hype has died down on him like crazy. And we were just as guilty as anyone for hyping this guy up a couple of 100%. Years ago. And now that hype has died off, that like not even the guys like us that were high on him, we're not really seeing him mentioned anywhere. So you can the hype is gone, and now he's definitely a sleeper that you can get so late. Like he's essentially free in drafts. So yeah, that's a really good shout.
All right, love that. Any other special mentions from you, Todd? No pressure to, sir, of course, but if you've got one.
No, nothing from me, mate.
Yep, Simo, all good from you. Any mentions?
I think we have to take the low-hanging fruit here. Well, I'll say it anyway, and you can ridicule me for saying him in this one. Maybe he goes higher. But I think Suafa'alongo has to be mentioned in this as someone that could just be a massive boom. Like, you're looking at guy like fullback only means he's probably going to get drafted a lot later than you'd think. Obviously, if he had CTW, he'd go a lot higher. But fullback is very deep, as we mentioned on the fullback podcast. So if you wait on fullback and you get Sua with someone else, I think Melbourne fullback, like has to be mentioned in the boom.
I'm with you, mate. Can I mention? See, I had a struggle with naming a guy, but I'm going to bring him up now. Isaiah Yongi, I've said it on the fullback podcast. I think talent-wise, he's electric. I just think he does everything right for SuperCoach. Could easily be a league winner as well. And I think, pardon me, we'll talk about draft strategy later, but to repeat for those who haven't yet listened, the Trey Fuller, Yongi, Fa'alongo, Jareem Bullers this year, that little tier, I think it's one of the first times ever you can realistically not pony up for an elite fullback and maybe still win your league this year. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I absolutely love this next segment, and Simon cautioned me beforehand that I do tend to find a few busts in my list, and I'm not afraid to name some names that others are excited about. And my first one, gentlemen, I am going to kick it off because I think it's pretty sensational. I think Hudson Young is an absolute bona fide bust this year if he's drafted as per his average. Some may even say low-hanging fruit and he'll come down a bit. I think he goes back to more what he was a couple of years ago. The talent is there. I just think the attacking upside dies off with the Raiders just coming down a notch. I think I'll leave my bold predictions to later, but I'll tell you, Huddy Young for me wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole where he has to go in drafts. Any pushback?
Not a lot of pushback. Like, I'll be honest. If he wasn't round 26 by, I'd probably have him as my number one 2RF. So I'll say that much. So I guess even though I'm not super against it, like I guess in principle I am, but he's not someone I'm super looking at either. So I guess I tend to sort of agree as well. So I'm not going to sort of push you either way.
Todd's up to you, mate. A bust.
Oh, yes. It's actually one from my boys, the Waz. I think Aaron Clark, boys. I think we talked about it in the during the episodes, but just what he did last year, just that meat and potatoes, stat padding. We get Barney back this year in rounds 1 or 2, and I think that's going to be a massive play for Aaron Clark. He just won't have to do as much throughout the middle there. You got another year of our young forwards coming through too. So I just think Aaron Clark is definitely a bust on a SuperCoach average from last year.
Good one, Todd. Do you think the only thing maybe saving him is, do you think the community are wise to it? I know our listeners will be because they listen to us, intelligent group that they are. I wonder if it's just those leagues that go on pure average. I'm with you, Todd. I wonder if leagues, because he doesn't, not being an 80-minute edge player or an elite middle, it's like, you can see that he does fade. When does he become value, Todd? Like, do you think he can still hit like a high 50, low 60s average?
Yeah, I think so. I think if he gets that 55 to 65 minutes in the middle there, he can still give you a PPM. He's still a very good player, still get his tackles, still get some offloads going like we saw last year. It's just, I don't think we're going to see him in those big minute games, those 70-plus minute games this year with Barney back, near Corey going through the middle there too. So, I think he does become a value at some stage. I think he still sort of ends up between that 55 and 60 average, but compared to last year's year that he had is definitely a bust for me.
Sim, I know you're dying to add one here, mate. Give us your bust. First one.
Oh, look, I've got much more to say. I've had a fair bit to say about this guy on the Front Row podcast, I think it was. I'm not big on Koloamatangi, boys. I just can't get around it. It's just 72 minutes per game last year he averaged, and I just look at South, like, they've got Murray coming back. We project them to have Fafita and Tallis Duncan 80 minutes on the edges. I mean, unless Cameron Murray only ends up playing 60 minutes a game, but I'm going to project that Murray plays, back to what he was, sort of 70 minutes plus. Like, I just think if Koloamatangi drops any sorts of minutes off that 72, I just don't really like the value on him. I think he's one of those guys that sure, like if you're someone that's keen on taking front rowers in the 2-3 turn, like I see where it's a little bit juicy there, but for me, I'd just rather wait on that front row. If I'm not going sort of the big boys in Haas and Terrell May, I'm probably more likely just from a strategy standpoint to just leave front row for a little bit later. And it's just sort of that strategy side of it that I can't get around it. You know, he's leaving South at the end of the year. Like, I just don't know. The flip side is you could say they might burn him out, but yeah, I'm not feeling it. So he's a bust for mine.
I love it. Sensational. It's one I don't agree with, but I love that you've gone there, mate. Respect that. I'm going to go for a – actually, it's kind of boring for me. If you've listened to the potty for a long time, low-hanging fruit. Latrell Mitchell, the closer we've got to draft day, the less I'm even remotely interested in drafting him anywhere near what you still will. The name will carry the base. Goal kicking will look attractive. He's going to get injured again, unfortunately. If Cody Walker doesn't actually have a pulse, him playing in the centres means a much lower floor than you think. I think you can get a lot more between 45 and 65 scores, which will mean the end of season average will be okay. I just don't think he's going to hit the mega upside enough for you to get too excited about him, to be honest. There's many CTWs I'm valuing high now, and I've dropped him well down my board. Not interested. That's not the exciting one, gentlemen.
Well, sorry. Just before you give us that one, I feel like when that news came out last week of Latrell Mitchell doing a calf, like you could hear the pin drop on his SuperCoach value everywhere. It was like, I think it was 2 days after we just done the CT Dub podcast. Yeah. And we're like, oh yeah, maybe he should be a top 20 pick, and then or even like a solid round 3 pick, and then straight after that, it just went drop a couple of rounds from it.
The floor's too low, Sumo. It's too low. He'll have games where he floats and doesn't do that much, and you might get the one little bit of effort, and that's it. So anyway, that's an easy one. But the more sensational one, gentlemen, I'm going to drop, and I'm going to go with a man that it's related to a man that you have as your Boom League winner, Tots. I think Scotty Drinkwater's a bust if you're taking him at the end of round 1, where he'll go in a lot of leagues. I think he might just drop back a little bit with the Purdue. I'm buying into it. When Purdue played center, he was fantastic. I think he cannibalizes a lot of the work that Drinky does. Now, remember the qualification. I'm not saying he busts and he's unplayable and he won't have some upside, but to expect near that round 1 sort of value that he's had in the last couple of years, I think this might be a bit of a downer for Drinky, who's also playing behind arguably the worst forward pack in the entire league. Like, it's Griffin Neem and Ruben Cotter we worked out, gentlemen, and not a hell of a lot else. So heavy fade for me, Drinky. Also, Cowboys away record. I don't think you want to be having him in some tough places. Goes away to Melbourne, goes away to New South Wales. No good for me.
Nice.
Anyone else, Tozza?
Mate, I do have one more. It probably might be a little bit controversial. I don't know what that word is. Anyway, moving on. Controversial after last year's sort of late run of form, but mine is Jermaine Hopgood. Last year from round 20 to 27, we saw massive uptick in minutes, and I know people are going to be really high on that. And I'm a big fan of Jermaine Hopgood, but I just don't think he's going to play 80 or 75 like some of these games he had at the end of last year. Jack DeBellin arrives as well to play through the middle there too. Dylan Walker, they actually looked better when Dylan Walker was playing lock last year. He distributed the ball pretty well. So I just think that with those big averages that he had at the end of last year, people are going to be really on him. I just don't think it's going to happen that way. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but he needs to get that 65 minutes and to get those kind of scores we saw at the back end of last year. I just think there's not enough minutes there. Great
shout, Tods. I think you boys both brought up. You mentioned concern with the JDB minutes, and I'm about it. I actually really think that's a really good take there.
Meso, I love it. Simo did not love it.
Mate, I was just going to say to you, hey, just when you said, I'm happy to be proven wrong, mate, you and I both owned him last year at various points. We are not happy to be proven wrong.
No, I'm happy to be there's a big old fantasy gun there, and I'm happy to see it, but I just, fucking
you're very happy. Thinking he'd been swooping Hopgood up when he actually came good for the run that Todd's. I think he's great.
Such an arsey move, typical Redford move. Nothing said Hopgood would be any good. Jason Rogers changed his mind.
Just run home beautifully in the position that I needed most. Thank you, Jermaine Hopgood. Meso, welcome back, mate. Great to see you. Chance on Osako being a bust. I can see him being dropped this season. with Cobbo, Bostock, and the surprising Tavita Nafahu around vying for wing spots. Surely Katoa and Nicarima can kick goals. I've got an opinion on this, but I'll go to you, Simo, for this one. Your initial thoughts.
I mean, if I've said to one of my mates, if Azarko ever got injured and Katoa was kicking goals, holy shit, Supercoach would break. It'd be so good. Look, do I think Azarko will get dropped? No, I don't. I think it's he's just a lock on that right wing for mine. I just can't see it happening. So yeah, I'll say no.
Completely agree, but I think he's a bit of a right wing specialist, and I think being the top point scorer that he's been and can finish still pretty well, he's also a fantastic goal kicker. So I don't think so. I really don't. Todza?
Yeah, same. I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same, mate.
Good shout. I love that Meso's thinking outside the box like that. I just personally think as good as Jack Bostock may be, Cobbo may have a great start to the year, boys. I don't think he's getting dropped anytime soon. I think it's bad time to be Jack Bostock. It's just he's the odd man out. Here's the reserve, in my opinion. So, all right. Callum is with us. Hello, mate. Welcome back. G'day, legends. Love being back.
G'day, Cal.
G'day, Cal. And love smashing through our positional rankings. Love you, mate. Cheers for putting in the time for all us other draft diehards. Isn't that just I felt that in the cockles of my heart. That's beautiful, mate. Thank you.
Long time listener, Cal. Goes good.
Goes good.
And Mato too. But, yeah.
G'day, Cal.
Don't know who this Chris O bloke is.
It's a 4-4, mate. Don't you know?
Love that. Gentlemen, we're on to going good. I love those first two. Start off with a bang. The next one is the coveted bounce back, SuperCoach bounce back player of the year. I will start just to get it out of the way with the lowest hanging fruit of this podcast. We all said, who's taken D Fifi? I'll just say him early. D Fifi, bounce back player, easy. There's no way he's as crap as he was last year. Yeah, even if you're not a big South believer, he'll still get minutes in that side. He'll still be pretty darn good. So that's an easy one. I'll go to you, Mr. Todza, for your bounce back player, sir.
Bounce back. Yeah, someone who was injured last year. Big fan of this bloke. Don't know if you've heard, but I drafted him on draft day and he got injured. So Tommy Gilbert, I just think he can easily be a top 15 2RF, mate, and really take over this Dolphins team and be that Dolphin they're looking for. So he would be my bounce back for this year.
That's a really good shout, mate, because it's minutes there. It just worries me a little bit with the Morgan Knowles, but God, I hope you're right. I'm rooting for Gilbert. Looked at his injury record, mate. He's had 3 serious injuries in 3 years. He deserves a break, and it's partially because he is so damn tough, so I really hope that he does. I'll go next, just to mix up the order. Britton Nickera, we talked about him, Todd. Pretty obvious one, I suppose, but still think he might also represent a bit of value on draft day. Would be over the moon to have him in my second 2RF position this year for the upside that he offers. And I think you might get him at that price. So I think he's my bounce back of the year. Simo?
I will go with Mitchell Moses, kicking goals again for the Eels. He gets an injury. He gets injured. He has those issues with his feet, and I think he's broken that same bone in his toe like 2 years. Not 2 years in a row, but 2 years recently. That's cost him heaps of time. So he's not without risk because he's not exactly a young bloke anymore, Mitchell Moses.
No, he's not.
You'd say, I'd still go as far to say he's in his prime though, in terms of his ability. It's just whether or not the body can keep up with it or not. We'll wait and see. But yeah, kicking goals again. I think that he's going in a decent spot in drafts. He's someone that I'd just be happy to just let come to me. I probably wouldn't reach for Mitchell Moses, so that's why he's not in the other positions on this potty. But yeah, happy to think that he'll bounce back to what he was probably 2 years ago, pre-injury. So I'm pretty happy with him.
Somebody clip that. Let him come, Moses. Love it, mate. Go for you, Simo. I like that one.
Yeah,
that's a fun one, mate. I'm rooting for Moses. The injury record. I want him to show how good he is over the course of the season, and it makes Para and all their SuperCoach players better. So good shout indeed. Sneaky little one here that is could be a bounce back, breakout. It's obviously just hopeful. Geez, I'd love Hilam Lukey to own that edge position and have a full season. And the talent is there, and it is SuperCoach friendly. I'm not saying get on him, Lukey, as a bona fide starter, but Jesus, I'm rooting for him this year. So, all right. Before we move on to the breakouts, and I'll define that in a moment, any other bounce backs, gentlemen, that we've got on our list?
Well, I think AFB is a bit of down last year. Average dropped down to 65. That's first time in 3 years. He's normally an average of 70 kind of guy. So, just a probably uptick in tries, a few more minutes there at the Sharks would be nice, and AFB becomes a sort of a top 3 front rower again.
Yep. I'll finish with another heavy 2RF. Be remiss of me not to mention Gus going out with a bang, which I know Simo strongly disagreed with. I think he's a chance of pushing back up to near a 70 average in that team, which would be, I think, relative to a bounce back as an elite 2RF player. So quite high on Gus, as I've said.
One more for me too.
Yes, mate.
This bloke can't be as bad as he was for Supercoach as he was last year. Kalen Ponga has to bounce back. Has to. He's too good a player to be what he was. Like, you over there with the Knights jersey on, if he doesn't bounce back, I don't know.
I have already heard rumors that he's been wandering around in a moon boot and he's still struggling with that Liz Frank injury, foot injury, which is concerning, big time concerning. So I think him, potentially Fletcher Sharp in the one, is looming as someone I might have to move up my boards a little bit, even if he's not named to start the year, because my confidence, I'll be honest, is pretty much shot right now. So I'd love
if you
to
draft Kalen Ponga, you have to draft Fletcher Sharp. No question. That handcuff, we do the handcuff a lot in NFL fantasy. You just have to. You have to have Fletcher Sharp in your team if you draft Kalen Ponga.
That's a great bit of live draft strategy. I 100% agree, Todd. If you are going, you got to protect your investment there. And given that's one of those really cool ones as a handcuff, Todd, where the replacement could be as good, if not better, than the person who's replacing Supercoach.
And there's every chance, before, come, season kicks off, Fletcher Sharp's on a wing, you can start him anyway. Especially at 5'8". It's I think you just have to.
It gets harder if he's named in the 14, but that also should hopefully drop the draft price of Fletcher Sharp to make that more doable. But I agree, mate. You cannot be the one left without him because someone else will draft Fletcher and you're going to hate it. A couple of mentions here, gentlemen. Oh, I like this one from Meso. Thoughts on Harry Grant as a bounce back? He was once a first rounder. Has that ship sailed and Grant should be treated as a mere mortal? And even got outdone by Blake Brayley, who absolutely was outstanding last year. Boys, on the podcast, I think we all have Harry Grant back in the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
No Garlic there this year means for me maybe they're trying to get him to play more minutes because they rested him a lot last year, remember, and they didn't win. So I don't know, man. It's not out of the realms of possibility to me that he goes closer back to a 75. It's just Meso for me. It's the way that he gets there. It's still more of a basey high floor model than an elite 120 wins 4 or 5 games in the season. So if you're thinking, should he be back as a bona fide first rounder? Not for me, because I believe value over replacement. I'd rather your higher upside guys personally. Either disagree with that take?
I think you've nailed it there, mate, to be honest, with Harry Grant.
Yeah, it's a tough one with Harry because the name suggests that he should be sort of an early round 2 pick probably. Because I think we all agree he's going to bounce back in some way, but yeah, it's just the hooker landscape in general. I just think that he just doesn't give you as much an advantage over everyone else as you think he does. Especially when you look at these fullbacks and other positions that are just when they blow up massively and can just win you the week on their own. Whereas like Harry Grant, you can probably wait a few rounds and still pick up a decent hooker. Every year there's someone in that middle round that ends up going okay. It's just the hard thing is that there's only sort of one. The rest of them do tend to bust, I guess, is the hard thing. But for me, I just think he's a solid sort of mid to back end of 2. Yeah, I couldn't get around him in round 1. I just think that you're just drafting him at his ceiling rather than his floor.
Yep, agreed. Good shout though. Good person to discuss, Meso. Dursto, welcome back, good sir. Tommy Flegler is just really the mention here, gentlemen. I think technically a boom in terms of you draft him for 0/waiver. if he got back to a 55, 60 average at his peak, at least somewhere for a chunk of the season, then technically that qualifies at least as a value pick for mine. Probably not a league winner, though. He's not got enough upside to do that. But he's kind of good proof, listeners, why I've almost never drafted ponied up for a second FRF. I've even not drafted them sometimes. I just wait till waivers. So there's a good example of why that can work. Meso's agreeing with that about being a bit of a bounce back after horror injuries. Same with Lukey. And yeah, mentions about the good shape that Flegler's in. So wish Flegler all the best too, of course, folks. All right, here's a fun one. And I'll just make sure I give the listeners the definition here. But we've got our breakout stars. So these are the folks that have been, I guess, an okay player recently or shown a little bit, but they've never truly had that full season where they were considered a SuperCoach star. Now, doesn't have to be round one, doesn't have to be necessarily round two, but just again, we were waiting for them to finally come good. Like if Samuel Afinu finally did, that would be a breakout, right? Todza, you look pumped up for this one, mate.
Pumped up.
You lead us off, mate. Who you got?
Well, if the listeners have dabbled in our fullbacks rankings, they would know that I have Keanu Kinney as my number 3. I think this kid can just honestly return a 75 average and you'll be super stoked. I know we sort of had him in the top 20 players the first 2 rounds. There'll be a lot of leagues where he won't go, then people won't believe in that. So I just think he has every chance to be that breakout. He's exciting, he's electric. We've seen him before, but this could be the season he puts a full season together and really shows us that he has that top 5 and I think top 3 fullback quality.
Sick. Love it. All right, that's a ripper, mate. I'm all about that as a breakout. Simo, your breakout or breakout, sir? Muted up, my man. First podcast, mate. Tough.
I remember my first day, mate.
Yeah, it's always good.
Simo, you know you're in strife when Todsy rips into you, mate. Holy shit.
Mate,
All that stuff you said before was awesome, Simo. It was the best you've done.
Wow.
did you guys catch all that or what?
Wow.
I'm not repeating it.
Oh, jeepers. Come on, Boomer.
Nothing
Yeah,
better.
come on.
What's this button here with a microphone in it? Can you hear me now? Is that?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah,
All
to our boomers that are listening, Simo's representing. All right, mate, let's go. Come on.
Very good. Breakout. Yeah, this one here could have easily been a boom because you can get him pretty late. I just feel a bit stronger about this one, which is why I bumped him up into the category. I think we are going to see the best of Kai Pearce-Paul in 2026.
Ooh,
I just reckon going to the Tigers, Benji's going to let this guy play his natural game.
Mhm.
Hopefully unleash that offload, which would be really nice for Supercoach. And is someone that, I don't know, like you can tell there's a bit of uncapped potential there. Like it could go horribly wrong, let's be honest. Like a lot of guys, when they go to the Tigers, it doesn't go well. So I guess you got to bake that into his value a little bit. But yeah, for me, KPP, pretty juicy, good value, a lot of upside.
I like that, mate. That's a good one. Couple of quick comments. Dursto, wouldn't be the only thing Toddy ripped tonight. Yeah, old Toddy Sharpford there. Very good. Conrad, welcome back to the sir. What a fine program, he says, just after talking about little Toddy Sharpford. Good form, mate. Great to see you. Great to have you back and looking forward to you having your commentary on the potty, mate. Breakouts. I love the one that Conrad said because I've actually got him down on my list somewhere. We're on that, mate. Same page here, you and I, Conrad. My breakout, mate, is I've got two. It's a twofer, and it is talking about those fullbacks that you can get at value. Trey Fuller, gentlemen, I think it's his time. I think I could almost put him in the boom, but I went with breakout because he's just had little snippets to show the potential. The average is there. Stay fit for a full season in that surging Dolphins side, is obviously assuming he starts at fullback. I'm struggling to find out what's not to like. He is electric. So easy one for me. The other one I mentioned already, gentlemen, is Yongi, who I just think is a talent-based thing. Banking on Moses staying fit for the full season as Simo's hoping for. I think those go hand in hand. I think they're both potentially massive breakout players for this year. All right. I'll go down. I'm going to skip past bold predictions. I'll leave as a teaser because I've gone pretty bold myself, but I'll leave those. We'll just bring up a couple other value picks, gentlemen. So values are just players we don't think the gap between where we're drafting and where we expect is not massive, but it's just enough that they're worth a mention here. I'm actually going to go to Conrad. One of the players in the CTW is Paul Alamotti. I think the way he finished means he's not going to go as late as you probably hope in drafts, because I think, gentlemen, unless I misread this, I don't really know what's not to like about Paul Alamotti playing Penrith there. Like, unless we think there's any reason Jenkins is coming back in, which I don't think there is, he's going to be fantastic again this year, and you'll have to draft him. You'll get him a little later than some of those other CT dubs, but I've got him ranked 11th this year.
Yeah, he's a top 15 CT dub.
He's a gun.
Full stop. Yeah.
Just a gun. So I think Conrad, for us, mate, it's like, I think you got to draft him roughly where he's at, but he might even return even better value than that because his upside's it's huge. Good shout, mate. I'll stick with it just because we're in CT dubs. Nick Meaney, gentlemen, I spoke about it on the CTW. You both weren't particularly thrilled. I think the floor upside combo playing in that Storm side, plus obviously with the goal kicking, plus the fact that if the Folongo experiment doesn't quite work through the injury or it's just just can't run the ball back as well as they want, I think Nick Meaney represents phenomenal value because he's not a sexy name. You're not going to have to pony up for him. If you can get him in there and your CTW won and because you've waited, love it. Absolutely love it.
And that's exactly what the board of Perth Bears said. He's not a sexy pick.
CTW 1, that's just too rich for mine, Redford. I could not have him as a 1. I wouldn't like my team if Nick Meaney's my CTW 1 going into the year.
How I draft the side, and we'll talk about strategy in a minute, does involve not ponying up usually for CT dubs. So where you've waited and stacked some other positions, I think he's such a good fallback option in that. So is Paul Alamotti, to be fair. Both of them. I like them both in that.
There'll be leagues where you can get Alamotti at a good value.
Okay, so I wanted to go to you, Mr. Todd, in terms of your other value players that you see.
Yep. So in my value, I had Jackson Purdue here as well.
Sure.
Yeah, we've also mentioned Kitiana Katonga. I also think he's going to be a definite value. The other one I want to mention here, Trey Mooney. We've talked about him in the front row potty. I think he's dual this year too. I think a massive amount of minutes coming his way down there. I think he will be slept on a lot and it'll be really good value. I think he's going to give you minimum second FRF value at bare minimum this year and could even push to be a 1 with the amount of minutes I think he's going to get. So Trey Mooney's my guy there with a bit of value.
Rock solid, mate. Really good shout, actually. Any others before we give it up to Simo to wrap up values?
Yeah, this is one that is no surprise to anyone out there.
Don't worry about it. You go, Simo. We've lost you.
This guy lost me again.
That's better. You're back.
Radio. This guy here gets a bit of a mention because, it's no surprise that this guy had a massive breakout last year. But I feel like in Supercoach circles, everyone's just pumped the brakes on him. He doesn't even get mentioned much now because of the round 26 bye. And if it wasn't for the round 26 bye, everyone would be slurping him here every which way. And that's Ethan Strange. Like, the bloke is just an unbelievable talent in real life. He's broken out massively. Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that eventually in leagues, the value is going to get too much, where you just have to take him as pretty much a lock to be like a top 3 or 4, 5, 8 by the season's end, you'd imagine, given how sort of dire the position is in general. But you could be looking at the number 158 of when we go into 2027 drafts. And if you look back on that and go, I passed that up just because he doesn't play the grand final, I feel like there'll be someone in every league that will just go, you know what, this bloke's talent is too good. I get that. But if everyone's on the same way of thinking that, he doesn't play around 26, let's just fade Ethan Strange, I think everyone's making a massive mistake. So he has to be a value at some point, and I'd be happy to take him at a place that I think if he's fallen a round or two further than where he should go, get on board with Ethan Strange.
Yeah, if at the right value, it's for those that are worried about him, it's actually, even if you take round 26, Simo, it's a good shout, by the way, mate. If he falls 2 rounds later than he should. So you're thinking he should go somewhere at least in the top 4 rounds, I presume. So middle of third to start of fifth. I think you're on mute again, mate.
I love muting myself. Yeah, I reckon sort of if he's falling to the back of 4 and start of 5, I think that's really good value for Ethan Strange because, like, Dylan Brown will probably go above him. So we sort of think Dylan Brown will go somewhere at back end of round 3, middle to late, like somewhere around 4, depending on how high your league is on him. This is all assuming Dylan Brown gets 5'8" eligibility, mind you. But yeah, I think if you can start looking at Strangey around, late round 4, start round 5, especially if it's mid round 5, that's where the value to me is just, okay, I'll take a guy and just sort out round 26 when it comes.
Yeah. The floor argument will be the big one, and I think I'm happy to wait another year. But I do think I like that you mentioned him here, Simo, because everyone has a price if it gets low enough, if people are sleeping. That's a good shout, mate.
Just those questions bang on here. Bang on, like, just to read to the listeners, like Dursto saying that the replacement level guy that you pick up to replace him in round 26, look, that's going to be the same value that some people are starting in their 5'8" anyway. So if you plan ahead well enough, you can make it work.
Yep, I like that. A couple other shouts from Meso this time. Jordan Ricky for value goes under the radar. Definitely not for me. I don't know if it's a troll post or not, but he actually was all right for Supercoach last year, to be fair. He did have a better season in a surging Broncos side. I just think, as long as you're paying bottom dollar, you could maybe throw him in your third, but not really my guy. Stay clear of Tungo. That's not changing. That would be a fluke. So good luck to you if you have him as your 4 CT dub, but his floor is almost non-existent. Meso's having the whole Ethan Strange Buller pickup. Absolutely. And Durso just loving your work.
Boys, I'll pop one more in there just for funsies. Where are you going to get him? And the Haiti cops, Jai Gray, just going through his stats here from last year when he played 80 minutes at 1. I'll read out the scores. 80 minutes at 1, 77, 79, 69, 68, 79. Get a 36 there, 64. Those are the first 7 rounds of 2025. I'll go to the last rounds, round 21 through 25. Scores 71, 61, a 37, 89, 81, and a 72. The value you're going to get on Jai Gray outside of top 10 fullbacks is pretty crazy. And if you don't think he's value, then that's unbelievable.
Jai Gray, great in a flex league. That is beautifully said, Durster. I think that's where he belongs. I just don't think he has the upside. I think he'll be relied upon even less in this South side with all those mouths to feed and hungry try assisters. So
it might be my fault this year.
I do not like he is just the ceiling argument. It's not enough for me to win your leagues. He just doesn't have that burst through ceiling. And I don't think he really has much of a pass on him. So, yuck. Shocker.
Yeah, fair enough. I
could be wrong, mate. The couple of 80s, as long as those 80s, like, it could be trending, Todd. Like, if he trends and they turn into hundreds and that whole argument flips and he's fantastic, you don't have to draft him as a top 10 either. He's a great guy to put alongside any of those guys you think could break out, and he's like your fail-safe as well. So, don't mind it. Desto is just commenting here about how gettable will be in our league. I think you might be right. Okay, gentlemen, that leads us into. We'll go overall draft stats for the listeners, and then we're going to round out with some bold predictions, the all-important listener league entrants to be announced. So I'm going to put those out there, and there'll be some instructions attached. And then we're going to do an announcement on our final preseason podcast as well. So just to recount some of the draft strategies that have been mentioned so far, we had Todza, ripper from you, mate, the Sharp Ponga handcuff. If you're the Ponga owner, draft him. Absolutely. Love it. Simo, one that we have mentioned a few times, 80-minute edge back rowers with a bit of variance in your back row is a bloody good place to be because they can win your weeks from that spot. Your floor argument 2RF, so like your Toby Couchman, Carrigan type guys, if you played in their Hopgood, Williams, they can fill a role for you. Even Isaiah Yeo, Aaron Clark, they've got their place, don't get me wrong, but you can't have too many of those guys. You need a bit of variance and a bit of upside to try and match, potentially what other CT dubs and stuff are doing. Simo, any other specific strategy? I've got a couple more here as well, but I'll go to you first.
I think just on what you said there with the Carrigan types, like in the front row, those guys are fine because you're happy to plug them in there and you'll accept a 60 to 70 score every single week. But yeah, in the 2RF, they're the sorts of guys that aren't going to pump out massive hundreds. So you probably want a bit more upside or try scoring potential in those positions. Makes perfect sense. Look, I think just in general, we've touched on a lot of these strategies already. Halfbacks deep this year, 5/8's not. See, I think for me, there's front row and CTW. First two rounds, like I only want to go sort of great or late in those two positions. So it's either Herbie and Kiraz in the CT dub or Haas and May in the front row. Otherwise, I'm probably going to wait a bit. Some people would argue that Marky Mark should go in there. Like I respect them for that. For me, he's someone I have slightly below those other two, but that's just personal preference. So, do with that with what you will. But I think, Harry Grant was an interesting conversation with Meso there because it does become a point where both he and Munster, they're both very interesting because they're both the best at a really crap position, but we just don't love their high scoring potential. So round one seems a little bit rich just because they don't have those massive hundreds in them. But I feel like round two, if they fall there, you've done really well to grab either of them. I know in our sort of home league, like a lot of us have played for a very long time, so those sorts of scarce positions get pushed up quite a bit. So they could easily go for round one values in our league. But I know a lot of leagues out there that you hear about, like Cam Munster's like a solid second round pick, late second round pick, because that's what his average sort of suggests. So I can see where he'd become a great value in leagues out there. But yeah, other than that, like I think it's just, go in with a clear plan, what you prioritize, what you don't. Just remember in draft that you need to build upside in your team. You have to have upside. Just going safe guys here, there, and everywhere. It's fine in the regular season, but it's not going to get you over the top in the GF. So you have to take some risks and shoot for these guys that could really break out. And as we say in draft every year, and I'll probably leave it with this, is that you listen to all our potties, and you might probably consume other content as well. When push comes to shove on draft day, you got to go with your gut, because the worst thing that you do is that you go with what I say or Toddy says or Chris says, and just because you think it's the right thing that we've said it is to do, and you go against your gut and it proves to be wrong, you'll hate it all year, and you'll just be like, why did I listen to those three Muppets when I was there, I was on it all year. And so that's probably the biggest thing in draft, is it's a gut thing. Like look at Toddy with Kinney, like he's up there at 3, he's his boy, so you got to go get those sort of players. Like you go into these drafts with probably like, I don't know, we make these potties, but where we go through probably 15 names. Some of these are forced, but in your head you probably got about 5 to 6 that you really, really believe in as got really good targets, and I think they're the ones you got to go in and get, and just make sure you leave your draft with those guys.
Yeah, good shout, Tim. I think the big shout there is shoot for upside as many positions as you can. If you're not paying for upside and weak winning upside, then try and deprioritize those positions. That's how I've always drafted. So just because a position is scarce doesn't necessarily mean you pony up, or if there's like a run of players in your drafts, so say hooker starts ripping and you're like, oh no, I better not miss out. I'll still prioritize other positions that have upside that'll help me win. That's just how I draft. Happy to be wrong and go down swinging. We say that. That's why, listeners, for those who followed us for a while, this round 26 buy for as long as it's been in, that's why I just put lines through those players, because I'm here to win. I don't care about coming second. Couldn't care less about making a GF. So, all right. Simo, you just got some tech difficulties, mate. So I'm just going to taking him off the stage there for a moment, Todza. So we'll see if we can get him back. Sorry, listeners. Hopefully we can sneak him back in with a bit better. Yeah, still not flash, Simo, but we'll see how we go. Just a few comments in the chat here, gentlemen. Welcome back, FPL for life. Thoughts on Cook with a little injury? Is that a strong pick? Todza did see this angle the other day, mate. And look, if Damien Cook was playing 80 minutes, I mean, yes.
Yeah, for sure. If he's playing 80, for sure. We saw plenty of Cook last year be good enough. And without Little there, they don't need to make his minutes. So, don't mind it at all. if Little was to be injured. If Little is named on the bench come round 1, I don't want to bar of it.
Yeah, it could be a stopgap FPL. Like there's potential if Little is missing that start of the year, which I believe I also read, then perhaps you could forego drafting early in the position, try and figure it out later and start with Cook. Don't hate it, mate. It's somehow how you get by in a season with a weak position. Another question from FPL is Caleb Navale, the Manly big Fijian, getting a bit of buzz pre-season. I find it hard to believe would be SuperCoach relevant this early in the career. I'll stay with you, Todd. Yeah. I don't think so. Probably don't need to draft him, but like it would be amazing with Aloye out. Paseka Touchwood is very injury prone. No Matt Lodge now as well. Brown's at the stage of his career. Like, mate, there's minutes to be had.
Yeah, there probably is, but probably one for the Black Book and watch towards the end of the year, see if he gets up some minutes there and hope to look for next year. I don't think he's going to be super relevant this year.
Okay. And Meso finishing off, love it. Well said, Simo, here. I probably historically played it too safe. Too many 2RFs early. Made the semis 4 times in 5 years in my league. Never been able to win the big one, which, Meso, it's your time, mate. It's your absolute time. So if you're going to draft your 2RFs, make sure you're going after the really high, bigger variance guys. Your Lucas, Preston, even Fifi. Go for the guys who'll score tries. Meso's added, Gerbo will take all the minutes, for flat 40 scores. Yeah, he will. It's not
flat 40s? Holy. Worldy of a time, Gerbo.
Just to round out the draft strategy conversation, absolutely love. I think this might be the first year that unless you're going after Walsh or Teddy, gentlemen, I absolutely think that going Payne Haas as your round 1 pick and following up with one of those middle-ranked fullbacks, Fuller, Yongi, Falongo, Bula, I think is an absolutely league-winning strategy this year, and one that I may even look at myself. The other one is, I think, CTW, gentlemen. We've mentioned players that are sitting in our rankings somewhere between, we'll just say 7 and maybe even 15 that we think could be CTW ones for various reasons. I'm not convinced you have to pony up for any of the big guns this year to get a well-rounded team. I think you can stock up elsewhere and still really like your CT dubs this year. So just a couple little options and observations. All right. This is a fun bit, boys. This is the part of this potty I absolutely love, and this is the bold predictions. So these are pretty crazy, spicy hot takes that we think are a bit of fun. They're not necessarily right, but when you back your boys, you back your boys. And I feel like, Todd's, again, you're bursting out of your seat to get one out here, mate.
Yep.
Give us your first bold prediction. The man who pretty much is a walking bold prediction.
I don't think it'll come to any surprise if you listen to the CTW podcast. If you haven't, go check it out on YouTube or Spotify. But Daniel Tupou, I've got him here to be the top try scorer for the year and a top 10 CT dub, baby. Let's go, Tupou!
That's so good. Simo, there's a man who finally put respect on a man's name that you and I, for 15-odd years, have failed to do. So well done. Well done.
Yeah, it's fair play. Fair play. If either of us did it, it wouldn't happen. So fair play to Toddy, getting it out there. I'm actually rooting for that. So hopefully you draft him, Toddy, and you ride it home. So fair play to you, mate.
What do you got for us, Simo? Give us your first boldy, mate.
One of my boys is finally in the NRL. Ethan Sanders will be a top 5 halfback in Super.
Oh, yes,
top
boy.
5, yeah, boy.
Top 5.
Holy.
Wow.
Yeah. Top
5.
It's bold.
It's bold. That'll get me moist than an oyster. Holy.
That is fantastic.
Oh, but he plays round 26. Can't draft him.
Top 5.
Wow. I mean, if ever there's a spot where you don't worry about the line through them, it is if you're drafting Ethan Sanders in about round 75 and he ends up being a top 5, you can manage with drafting someone else to win your 26 with a bit of scheduling. So that's sick. That's beautiful segue, Simone, to me saying everyone bar Ethan Sanders and maybe Timoko of the Canberra Raiders will be a bust this year. And not just because of round 26. I think that the loss of Fogarty and the way their structure was set up was around that kicking game of his that mate, this is pretty cool. We've just had them back to back. If you're right about Ethan Sanders, I've got egg on my face because I'll do that or better. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're all going to regress. I'm not a big fan of Tarpany where he's going to have to go. I've already said Huddy, I think, drops back at least a decent amount from where he was. I don't mind Tamale. I will say he's probably the one asterisk for me. I think he's an up-and-comer, good player. But I'm not there. I don't want KO Weeks either, just throwing him in the mix. Tom Starling is risky as they come. I just think across the board, it's easy for me to even Zach Hosking, which I love for Supercoach, has got Matty Nicholson waiting in the wings. It's just all of their players seem really risky to me this year and not worth the draft price. So I've just gone blanket, absolute blanket. Todza, do you have another one for us, mate?
No, conveniently I had the Raiders there. I literally had Will miss Fogarty's leadership and steering them around and not make the 8. So that was my big bold. I wouldn't even make the 8. And obviously, as a Wire supporter, if Luke Metcalf can stay fit from round 7 onwards, we go to a semi-final and have a chance to win it. Metcalf is fit during finals time, we have a chance to win it.
Okay.
What do we reckon about Luke Metcalf this year, boys? Like, obviously, 7 rounds out. Someone's going to have to draft him. Where do you think he goes?
Simo?
Late. He has to go late.
Of course, yeah.
Massive injury to a guy that's been injured every year of his career. And
True.
So as much as he was such a good breakout player last year, yeah, everything you said's right. He'll have to get drafted and will get drafted. He'll be parked on someone's bench for ages. In terms of where you have to draft him, like he's outside the first 13 rounds for me.
Okay. Yeah.
He's drafted as a bench player. But, obviously I'm going to draft Ethan Sanders over him, but
yeah,
I know a lot of people won't.
It's probably a good combo to have, Sanders, Metcalf.
Yeah, the thing is with that, you probably want to... See, Sanders is probably not going to hit the ground running as a rookie. He's probably going to build into it. By the time he builds into it, Metcalf will be back. Yeah, and you might give up. You could give up on Sanders too early. So, yeah, you'd almost have to draft the third and just... Which is starting to get into areas where you don't want to be drafting 3 halfbacks. So yeah, it's a tricky one. What do you think, Redford?
I'm pretty injury averse, as you guys know. I do like strategies around Metcalf where maybe I'd go a little safer with my first option. So I think Lockie Galvin, Jamal Fogarty sort of range, just as your solid should be something. Galvin also could be better. I think then in that scenario, I like Metcalf as the second. I don't know. Ethan Sanders and Metcalf might be too risky at a position that's quite strong. If they were both 5'8" and you were taking this gamble, I think I could get around it. But as halfbacks, you could be losing out pretty badly to some very good options there. So I'm not about it, actually.
I just think the third guy in that scenario, Toddy, you're trying to get a guy like Dewey. Or if you had to, I know we said this as an option, not a great option, but an option is just handcuffing Metcalf with Tanner Boyd and just riding that out. Hopefully Tanner Boyd's good for 7 weeks and then rides off into the sunset when Metcalf's back. You could go that way, and then just have Sanders there as a free hit on the bench. Because if Metcalf comes and gets injured again. Well, then, you don't want to start Tanner Boyd all year, but you might have Sanders as a bit of a redraw breakout.
Is there a world where Luke Metcalf comes back into the 6 and Tanner Boyd stays the 7? Because, I don't think Chanel Harris-Tavita or Tamari Martin have locked down that 6 spot at all. Is there a world where that happens? That's the combo?
It's a world, yeah. Well, Metcalf, you could arguably say that Metcalf is better as a 6. Because
I think he definitely is. Yeah.
Early last year, I know that they were worried about him playing 7 because he lost his running game for a lot of the start of the year. He started just managing the game quite a lot. I mean, the good thing was he was able to find a way around it and was still able to support and find ways to run. But he was so much better as a runner as a 6, just being that one extra pass off the ruck. So if Tanner Boyd comes out and plays well, yeah, they could easily do that.
Enough on your wires, mate. I've got a couple of predictions for you both in the halves. So I'm gonna throw them out. I think we have a new number one average and total point scorer. The second one more easily. I think Jaden Campbell is the new king of the halfback position, even above Cleary this year. I think there's a chance that JC can average 85 plus and just pip Cleary for the post. So I think we have a new king, ascending talent. And I also have Dylan Brown to be the number one 5'8" end of year, who hasn't even got the position yet. So there's my two that I think are going to come from not the clouds, but enough to be bold enough. I'll leave it there. I think they're bold enough for me. Mine are probably a little more conservative than the boys. Your Xavier Coates one last year, the best bold prediction of the lot. He had in preseason ranked 14. We laughed at you, and he outstripped that last year. So very, very well done to the Todd.
Yeah, it's just what I do, mate. I'm one of the best to do it.
One of the best to do it. Meso's got one in the chat here that I think is very interesting. So bold prediction that Jack Howarth plays edge back row over Lasati. I don't like the Storm options as they stand. Depends if the Supreme Court says Lomax can wear the purple.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy is that is the second time I've heard that in last 12 hours. There's a bloke, one of my blokes I work with said that exact same thing. Howarth could play second row. So don't know where these boys are getting this insight, but yeah, like could definitely see it. 100% I could see it.
Well, he's more of a back rower. He definitely is. The physique, the way he plays and stuff. I'd love to see him in the back row. Maybe do a little Tallis Duncan impression, slightly bigger body, but similar style. I think that would be kind of sick. So I kind of hope that happens, except that means Lomax got his way, and I don't love that, Meso. So a bit anti-Lomax here at the moment, to be fair. All right. Any other bold predictions, gentlemen? I think we've done pretty well there. There's some pretty out there takes. You're good there, Todd?
Yeah, I was just going through me halfback. Sanders top 5. I love that, Simo. That's crazy.
Look, we all know top 5 is just a pie in the sky, but it really is just speaking more to what I think of his talent and where he could be. Like even if you draft him, he ends up being like if he's anywhere close to sniffing like that Dearden sort of level, which is barely like the back end of the top 10, really more than top 5. But yeah, like top 5 obviously sounds a lot more bold, and I'll stick with it. But yeah,
I like it.
I did forget one other one, boys, which does resemble or at least match my confidence in his ranking. But I actually think Selwyn Cobbo for top try scorer this year on the left of the Dolphins attack is red hot in the frame. I think this is a year for him, and it'll be bloody fun to own. So just throwing that one in there as a bit of a bonus.
Well, Tavita Nafahu scored a hat trick end of last year, or 4 tries end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Playing on the left, like he had a massive game playing there.
So did Bostic. Bostic had his 100. Yeah.
Cobbo doesn't even have to be anything. Like he just fall over the line at least 12 times with a potential of 20 plus.
He's better than that, Simo. Like he can create stuff as well. So I just he's an easy one that I've ranked pretty aggressively for that reason. So easy selection, classic for me too. Just for those who play classic, I think Cobbo at his price is just a steal. I think he's an easy one. All right. For those who stuck with us all pre-season and got in nice and early to comment, get that BDE India. Oh yeah. We have the announcement of our entrance into the Listener League this year, which there are 9 participants who will go up against the 3 of us to try and play off for a jersey. So the names, as I'm going to read them out, congratulations. Just want to put the asterisk that Simo mentioned previously is it will be subject to availability for the draft, which will be held on Wednesday, the 25th, Wednesday, the 25th of February at 8:30 Queensland time. So for those who've also, thank you so much. We had plenty of entrants here that were keen to join, but obviously, in fairness, first in, best dressed. I will also be checking to make sure that the people I mentioned here have liked and subscribed. I haven't had a chance to check the subscription aspect yet, but so stay tuned. There might be people that drop out. FPL for Life said I'll verse you guys. Excellent, mate. He's on. So here we go. Congrats to Braden Greentree, 8120, Jared B, B1FX, F6X, Kyle Slapford, I'll say Kyle Sapsford, 316. There you go. Jode 212, Cletus Barry, old Cletus, he's been around a long while. 6573 at Nathaniel Highland. Your boy Simo snuck in at Razzleberry Crunch. Welcome.
Yes, there'll be collusion going on here.
There will be. Unfortunately, they're in love, those two. Get a room. Peter Drew 5669, and last but not least, M Schulmerland. Probably butchered many of those, but I'll look. If that's you, make sure I've put a love heart beside each of the comments. But if I've just mentioned you on the potty, obviously, hopefully you were listening tonight. So I want to see you comment back on that for us to confirm that you have in fact subscribed and liked. And we will be making sure we set up that league. We've got a bit of time. We've got essentially a month to do it, but we're going to have locked in the 12 participants in that draft. So you can't jump the queue on us, FPL. We're fair people here. We had a system, mate. So we'll see, but I like your enthusiasm. So congrats to those who'll be a part of it. Stay tuned, those who've already who've put up their names for reserves. So excited to get there. It will be a 12-man standard, no flex. Gentlemen, that brings us to the end. That was a very good bit of fun. I absolutely love that potty. We will, for accountability purpose, revisit that towards the end of the year, I think, for a bit of fun and see just how wrong or right we were. Odds up. Good from you this evening.
Thank you, mate. No, I've been enjoying it. So, yeah, looking forward to footy season. I was watching watching a bit of Fox League today, just some old games. There's 2016 South versus the Titans. Oh, just wetting my lips, mate. Just wetting my lips.
Beautiful, mate. Some players, no doubt. David Mead, number one fan of the potty as well. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Good stuff.
So, Simo, thank you very much, mate. There has been some tech issues tonight, but we've got you through in the end, which is all right. So, great analysis from yourself, mate.
Oh, mate, it's never the first time, unfortunately for me. But yes, hopefully listeners got a bit out of what we had to say tonight. For us three here, it's under 3 weeks away till our draft. So, it's starting to ramp up. So, yeah, getting very keen.
Very much. And Meso's jumped in, said, enjoy the listening league. All great potty, top notch. Thank you, sir. Thank you to those who've tuned in as well. The little teaser as well is we had mentioned that we were going to look to do a live broadcast of the listener league where you'll see Toddy, Simo, and myself go through each draft pick with some live commentary and reactions, which I think could be a good bit of fun. First time we're trying that. So please tune in live to watch us. You'll also, obviously, will allow some who are participating in the draft to get some live roasting potentially, but also some love for some good picks. So it should be a hell of a lot of fun. So till then, that'll be on the 25th. I keep getting that wrong. 25th of Feb. No more potties likely till then, folks, unless the community speak up and really want something, in which case we'll have a thought. But I think we've covered most things. So as always, listeners, get that BDE in here. Oh, yeah.